Tanglewood Elementary School community has made it clear as to what matters most regarding a neighborhood school. What you told us in February has driven our work since then. We heard your voices at board meetings. We gathered input from your site-based team, from your teachers, your emails, from all your questions and recommendations, even from your own survey. We know you are passionate about your school, your children, and your neighborhood. And we know it is important to you to maintain current Tanglewood attendance boundaries, protect property values, have a school that children can walk or ride their bikes to, maintain small neighborhood schools, keep K through 5th grade in one location, and consider returning Alice Carlson as a neighborhood school. Tanglewood Elementary was built in 1960 in the mid-century style of architecture. Additions were made in 1989 and around 2001. The school occupies 6 acres and has approximately 62,500 square feet. There are 30 classrooms serving grades K through 5. The school was built for a capacity of 594 students. Current enrollment is more than 870. There are 7 portable buildings currently on campus. Our best practices guide helps plan for per student square footage in our elementary schools that fluctuates with school enrollment. That could mean as much as 185 square feet per student at one school and down to 110 square feet per student at another. Based on today's enrollment, Tanglewood has 71 square feet per student. There is no doubt that Tanglewood is overcrowded, but it is also indicative of the strength of the program at this school. People naturally seek out high-performing schools. This chart shows the school's enrollment history and enrollment projections for a 20-year period. The red bar is where we are today. Everything to the left is where we have been. To the right is what we expect in coming years. More than 1,000 students are expected at Tanglewood by the year 2020, with the growth coming from the lowest grades. Given the anticipated growth, it is a logical step to examine attendance boundaries. The red line on this map indicates Tanglewood's current attendance boundary. The yellow line marks the major thoroughfares of Hewlin Street, running north and south, and Bel Air Drive, running east and west. The numbers indicate the students currently living in each of the 3 sections of the zone. This is a large attendance zone, but not our largest. It is one of our less densely populated zones in terms of students per housing unit. So here are some options we have explored that would relieve overcrowding while satisfying as many community desires as possible. We considered rearranging the current attendance zone. Using the natural boundaries of Hewlin Street and Bel Air Drive gives us 2 new zones of approximately equal student numbers. Please note that the numbers on this map in black are today's student numbers. The gray numbers are a 5-year projection. Another matter to consider with the 2 attendance zone approach is maintaining neighborhood association integrity. Using neighborhood associations as the building blocks of the 2 new zones requires the boundary lines to cross major streets. If we use the streets as the boundaries, then the neighborhoods are split. And this is counter to the concept of walkable and rideable schools. It is also important to note a second school option will impact where current Tanglewood children go to school. Let's take a look at the Alice Carlson School. Originally built in the mid-1920s, the school was expanded as the neighborhood grew in the mid-1930s, the mid-50s, and again in 2003. The school currently has 45,020 square feet, 18 classrooms, and some of those are significantly smaller than at Tanglewood. Currently, the school is configured to accommodate 356 students, but there are 390 students attending. The Applied Learning Center model manages enrollment by admitting a limited number of students at the kindergarten level and maintaining that number as students move up. This efficiency is not available to boundary schools. The school carries a state archaeological designation and a recorded Texas Historic Landmark designation. It is eligible for the National Registry of Historic Places. As a result, changes to the building, while not impossible, would require considerable coordination and perhaps additional expense. This was Alice Carlson's attendance zone back in 1983. It stretches from Hewlin Street to 8th Avenue. There currently are 440 students living within this zone. Using University Drive as a natural north-south boundary results in a fairly evenly divided number of students. In addition to requiring some current Tanglewood students to attend Alice Carlson, this option encroaches on the current Lily B. Clayton attendance zone indicated in orange. Displacing these students would set off a domino effect, forcing changes at other adjacent schools. And a very similar situation results when using a split zone built on neighborhood association boundaries as indicated by this map. If we do our best to maintain neighborhood integrity, we can see that relief would be provided for Tanglewood in the short term, but overcrowding would return in 2 or 3 years.